conversation with Alison Mabbutt on Ep.5 of the MindSide. Alison Mabbutt is brought to you by WestSide Discs and 360 Disc Golf. Welcome to the MindSide, Alison Mabbutt. Thank you for joining us.
Oh,
Appreciate you.
for having me.
Yes. Washington State professional golfer. How long have you been playing?
I've been playing consistently for about 10 years, and I played once a while ago, probably around like 2005 or so. So I've known about disc golf for a while.
Do you work on the mental side of disc golf?
I do a bit. Um, yeah. So I think about it when I'm practicing. Like I'll practice putting in my backyard, and before I putt, I'll think in my head, okay, this putt is for the win. And so I try to put a little pressure on myself when I'm putting, or I'll think, okay, there's a bunch of people watching me. So I I try to put myself into uncomfortable positions when I'm practicing so that I'm prepared when I'm playing in tournaments. And another thing I do when I'm putting is sometimes I'll listen to music and I'll just put a random shuffle of music playing and I'll tell myself like, okay, you can't skip it. So I never know what kind of music will be playing next. And so that way I'm kind of mentally prepared for distractions or just weird things happening during a tournament.
No, I like that music because I've always shied away from music
Yeah,
because I felt like it's kind of an excuse to focus on something outside of yourself. But if you're using it as a way, as an intentional distraction, yeah, that's a phenomenal way to use it.
yeah, and I don't use music every time because I agree with you. Like I don't play music when I'm playing tournaments, so I try to practice in every manner, with music, without music, and yeah,
Yeah, but it's still introducing the possibility of distraction like you have in tournament. Yeah, most
exactly.
definitely. So have you looked for any information on the mental side of the game, and what avenues did you seek?
Yeah, I read Golf is Not a Game of Perfect probably 5 or 6 years ago. And that book was really helpful to me. Um, so I did that, and that's the main thing I've done. I've also tried a little bit of meditation, um, and that's helpful to me for work or disc golf or life, just kind of clearing my mind.
Very good. And you do have a full-time job, so
Yeah,
you do have to manage that and disc golf.
yeah.
What are some of the things that have helped you to do that over the years?
Well, I find that I do a better, so my job can be pretty stressful and I have a ton of work. And so sometimes I think like, oh, I should be working overtime and working late. But I find if I take a break and play a round of disc golf, I actually will be better at work because it kind of clears my mind, removes the stress, and it's just kind of a reset for me. Um, and my job is really stressful. And so sometimes when it's really stressful, I think, okay, this is good practice mentally for disc golf. Like I'm in a stressful situation. I have to stay calm and just do my job. And I think that is really helpful for disc golf. And then also stressful situations in disc golf help me prepare for handling stress at work. So
Yeah, I definitely see how they go hand in hand because I've worked in very busy environments, and deadlines are deadlines, and piles grow, and yeah, you can't let all of the things impact you, same as on a disc golf course. So what are some techniques that you will use on the course if you do find yourself kind of feeling impacted by outside forces?
yeah, um, I like to take some deep breaths. That's helpful. Take some deep breaths, and I will try to put disc golf out of my head for a minute, and I'll look around and I can notice, oh, the beautiful tree, or look at flowers. Obviously I'll still watch my card mates throws, but just kind of try to think about something else and remember I'm playing disc golf. This is a sport. I'm here to have fun. And um, yeah, I just take some deep breaths and look around me and appreciate I'm playing disc golf. This is what I want to do all the time. So I'm happy to be here.
They're I like to look at the tops of trees.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was one thing that I missed when I was in Arizona. There,
Oh,
there weren't many trees to go and look at, for sure. But what are some things that you try to be aware of while you're in round?
so I try to not focus the entire time on the game. Like because sometimes we'll play tournament rounds that are extremely long. I mean, we played 5-hour rounds at Kitsap Classic, for example, and you just can't be totally focused for 5 hours straight. It's just exhausting. So I try to just focus when it's my turn to throw, or like, walking to my lie. I just think about, what I need to do then. And then when the throw is over, um, if it goes poorly, I'll just think about like, okay, what was the mistake that I made so that I know to correct it. And then I just put it on my mind, like that's over, moving forward. And then I won't really think about it anymore. I'm just kind of focus, enjoy watching my card mates throw.
Sure. So so let's say you are approaching your lie and you are going through your decision-making process. What are you trying to be aware of within that decision-making process?
So I think about, what are my strengths? What's the highest percentage shot for me? And what are the dangers? Like, where's the OB, or where's, you know, could this upshot roll away from the basket, and just like quickly assess, um, you know, the highest percent shot, the dangers, and then make my decision and then fully commit to it. Like, okay, this is the shot. And sometimes I'll say to myself, like, believe in every shot. And so I'll say that in my head and just try to totally focus on executing what I'm envisioning.
Yeah, so there was a little mantra in there.
Mm-hmm.
You have any other mantras that you will say to yourself, maybe in practice or at any time when you're playing?
Yeah. Um, I went to a clinic that was run by Paige Shu, and she said that something she had learned, I think from her dad, was it's never too late to have a good round. And so I think about that a lot if I get a bogey, or, just a bad shot. Like, it's not too late, because I've had amazing rounds, starting with a double bogey, which is like, okay, it's over. Um, keep going. It's not too late. So I think about that saying a lot. And then when I'm putting, I think, um, kind of cheesy, but I tell myself, you're a great putter.
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, because if you're not going to do it, nobody's going to until you
Exactly.
actually get there.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, because I would lie to myself about putting all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, something I like just generally believe is like fake it till you make it,
Yeah,
where
exactly.
I can be nervous, but all right, I'm just gonna pretend I'm confident. And sometimes that kind of just tricks me into not being so nervous.
Exactly. Yeah. Um, so what are some of your goals in disc golf?
So, one goal I've had for a while, which I need to work on more, is I would really like to play a tournament in every state. I think that would be really cool. Um, and then I had the goal of breaking 900 in reading for a long time, and I broke that I think late last year. So now I'm kind of thinking, okay, now I'd like to get to 930 reading. So yeah, I just have like a lot of little goals. Like I want to cash in a pro tour event this next year and break 930 and yeah, nothing
Push.
too crazy.
So what are you doing to push yourself to get yourself to that 930?
Well, I I've been focusing on some of the weaker parts of my game. Um, for example, I was a push putter for a long time and I was pretty good at putting, but I realized I'm not making longer putts. And living in the Pacific Northwest, there's so many trees and branches that it's hard to make putts from a long distance with a push putt. So, anyway, I switched my putting style to more of a spin, and I definitely got worse at first.
Mm-hmm.
So, I've been trying to be trying to accept changing parts of my game that are weak and knowing when they get worse for a little bit, um, just for the long run. So that's one example. I don't know. Well, the last like couple of weeks I've taken a break, so I haven't been working very hard lately. But I
Well,
think
it's
taking breaks is important too.
yeah, and sometimes that's the best thing you can do for your game. Take
Totally.
a
Yeah.
break and refresh.
Hmm.
So how many states have you played a tournament in? How
Not
big
very,
of a feat is this?
not very many. I've got a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
I've played in Alaska, Oregon, California, Idaho, Montana, Washington, and Pennsylvania for tournaments. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So you got seven.
Yeah.
You'll get
But I
there.
guess
Well,
worse.
you just got to plan it out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. So what is the mental game to you?
So to me, the mental side of the game is the most important part of the game. I, I feel like it's kind of the foundation that you build your other skills on. Um, it impacts how I practice and it impacts how I mentally prepare before a tournament and how I play disc golf just in general. I feel like it just kind of encompasses everything. Disc golf, you're by yourself. If you're having an off day, you can't, there's no coach. They can say, put me on the bench. I'm not playing well. So it's just extremely important, especially in disc golf.
Yeah, definitely. Well, yeah, because you're in charge of everything,
Mhm.
right? And you're stuck inside yourself, and that's basically what you're managing, right?
Exactly.
Managing
Yeah,
yourself throughout highs and lows of success and failure. And
totally. Yeah.
so what would be some advice that you would give um, some up and coming or newer players they can use to kind of level up their mental game?
So I think the most important thing is just believing in yourself. And when you make your decision about what kind of throw you're going to do, just fully commit to that and have confidence that you can throw well, you can play well. I remember when I first started playing, one of the first tournaments I was playing, I had to putt. And at that time, I was thinking in my head, oh, what happens if I miss this putt? Then I'll have to this comeback putt and I'll lose a stroke, blah, blah, blah. And of course, I missed my putt because I was thinking about all the negatives. And so it made such a difference to my game to really, cheer myself on, as cheesy as it is, say, you're a great putter, you got this. Fully commit to your putt. Um, so just having confidence and positive self-talk.
Yeah, self-talk is huge.
Mm-hmm.
So going back to the fake it till you make it. So what are some techniques that you have used to get from faking it to making it?
Well, I think I just remember being really nervous, um, playing some bigger tournaments, and there would be spectators around, and just saying, they don't know who I am, and they don't care. Just be confident, act like you belong here, and then just kind of having that positive self-talk again, just saying like, you belong here, it's fine. Then I did feel more confident, and then yeah, I just remember multiple situations just being nervous, but thinking you need to put your nerves aside and just focus because just being nervous isn't going to help anything. No one wants to see a bad throw.
Right. Yeah. Well, and being nervous is, it's normal, especially on those bigger stages when, like we said, you do manage the work and you manage the disc golf and you have limited chances to go out on that stage.
Yeah,
And those times can even feel bigger in to somebody who has to manage more than just disc golf. Because I know that I've experienced that because I've never really had any success when I've traveled because it's always been like, okay, here we go. And then
yeah,
that never works, right? So
yeah.
how have you managed, I guess, that sort of a thing when trying to travel a little more?
Well, sometimes I play really well if I'm playing course blind. And I think it's just that expectation or that pressure that someone can put on themselves. So if I'm playing a local tournament at a course I've played a ton, I get, it's easy to get frustrated. Like, normally I bury this hole. How did I just get a bogey? And so I know I work full time, and so I don't practice as much as the other players. So I tell myself, hey, there's no expectation on me to win this event, and there's nowhere to go but up. So just have fun. And someday I'll look back on this experience and think, wow, that's so cool. I got to do that. So just try to enjoy it for what it is and not put too much pressure on myself.
Definitely. Yeah, because it's like you said, looking back on just the experience of being able to play some of those bigger tournaments.
Mm-hmm.
is worth it. And yeah, some of the best rounds come out of no expectations.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not allowing any outside influences in, and
Hmm.
easy to build confidence that way. And just
Totally.
yeah, be free to just throw your frisbees.
Yeah.
Mhm. So what I guess I asked what you tried to be aware of during the round, and you kind of got into a little of the you have to be aware of what you want to change your focus away from. So, what
Hmm.
are some of the things that you try to steer your focus away from when you're in a round?
I try to not think about the overall outcome of the event. I think sometimes it's easy to start thinking, you're playing well and think, oh, maybe I can win this event. But you're only 2 holes into the final round. I think, no, don't think about that. Like, do not think about that. It's not over till it's over. Like, just focus on one shot at a time. Um, and there can just be, just distractions in general on the course. And I just try not to even think about it, just focus on what I can control. So,
Yeah, and that's all you can control.
yeah.
So how has something like a little bit of meditation that you've tried, how has that helped your disc golf game?
It's been helpful because it kind of makes me more aware of the thoughts in my head, what I'm thinking and how I'm feeling, and kind of be aware, oh, I'm kind of nervous. And just like think like, okay, I I feel nervous right now. And that's in that way I'm more aware of what I'm thinking and then I can kind of address it. Um, yeah, I can be someone who overthinks things a lot. And so it's really helped me kind of just clear my head and just be calm. It's not something I do a ton. I should probably do it more often, but I found it really helpful.
When even doing it just a little bit, you can kind of introduce it into, I guess, other walks of life. If you're, you know, you're even at work, you got little things you got to do. You got to stay calm about it. It's kind of a meditative state in its own. And yeah, same thing translating to disc golf.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, just to briefly talk about work as an example, like I've had times at work where I'm extremely busy in the morning and I'm just thinking, oh, I have to get all of these things done. And so in my lunch break, I do like a 10-minute meditation, clear my mind, come back to work, and be like, okay, you can only do one thing at a time. So don't worry about all the other stuff, just one task at a time. And I'm actually way more productive. And so I think that applies to disc golf also.
Yeah, definitely. Well, and especially when it comes to like a practice routine or managing goals, because it's kind of the same thing. Because we all play because we all want to get better, and there are different levels to that and different ways to get there. But yeah, it all comes back to focus and being able to get done what you want to get done. Um, so how do you I think I might have asked this maybe in a different way, but how do you adjust your mindset in round?
So I try to be aware of how I'm feeling. Sometimes I'll just be playing poorly, just, multiple bad holes in a row. Just thinking, just try to stop and think, like, okay, what's going on? And I think I try to take the time to think about, like, okay, am I hungry? And am I thirsty? And try to do those things and try to focus on fixing whatever the issue is. Like, am I early releasing? Okay, I need to focus on my release point, or just rather than getting frustrated by it, just try to think about little things, little tweaks that I can do to get back on track.
Yeah, and again, going back to controlling what you can control.
Exactly.
Yeah, you learn from it, and yeah, you can get better, and then you don't have to get upset about it.
Yes.
Yeah. So what keeps you motivated? What keeps you wanting to play?
Well, the main thing for me is that I just love the game, and I love being outside, and I've always loved sports, and so I just love the game. And then I'm also a kind of competitive person with myself, not with other people. Like, I love to cheer on other people, but I'm competitive with myself. Like, I'm sometimes I'll even win an event or have a good round, but I'll just think about, like, okay, but I can do better in this way. And so it's fun to see the improvements in my game. So yeah, I don't have any major goals. Like, I'm not someone who thinks, oh, someday I could win a world title or something like that. I just, being realistic, that's probably not in my future. And I just love the game. It's just something that I really enjoy.
And that's all you can ask for is enjoyment out of something.
Yep.
And I like it as, it's made it easier to go to work all the time too, because you've got something else to look forward to, and I don't know, something not to worry about. I remember I was in a job interview one time, and or I had gotten a job, and I was talking to somebody at work, and I was in a bad situation at this place I was working at. And he was like, well, why did you stay? And I was like, well, I had other hobbies I was focused on. Like, I didn't really care. I just got through it, and that made me really realize how much, like, I don't know, disc golf allowed me to accept from a job, which is kind of fun. But
Yes.
lesson learned there. Um, yeah. So what do you got going for next year? You got any travel plans?
Um, Nothing major. Trying to figure that out now. Um, Last year I sat down and kind of made a map of all the events I wanted to play, and I haven't done that yet for next year. But I definitely will be playing, whatever big tournaments are in the local area, and then I probably will travel somewhere. I have been traveling up to Alaska for, I think, the last 4 years, so perhaps go back to Alaska. I'd also like to play some bigger tournaments somewhere around the country. So yeah, no concrete plans, but hopefully I'll be getting some traveling in.
So when you do travel to those bigger events, what are some things? So they're obviously different than local events. What are some things that you do that are different to prepare for those bigger events as opposed to something that's local?
Well, if if it's possible to find coverage of the course, I try to watch coverage and pay attention to, whole distances, and think about my game and think, okay,
Mm-hmm.
how would I play this hole? Where would my disc probably land? So kind of mentally prepare just by like seeing the course ahead of time if possible. And then really just focusing on improving my game so I have confidence going into those courses. I mean, if you can putt well, you should be able to play well. So I just really focus on putting. That's mainly what I practice. Since I have a full-time job, a lot of times I'll just do putting practice after work. Um, so other than that, nothing different really. Just trying to see the course if possible, and then just feeling confident in my own game.
Yeah, and I like the looking at video through the lens of your own game, because that's gotten me in trouble before. I've thought I've figured like, oh, okay, it's just a giant hyzer. Then realize that guy throws, 80 to 120 feet further than I do.
Yeah,
You can't take
yeah,
that line.
yeah.
Um,
Can totally change the whole because it's like, okay, if I could throw 400 feet, a big backhand hyzer would be good, but for my game, maybe I should throw a forehand, which will set up for an easier approach. So
and yeah, like you said, putting practice is easy. I think
yeah,
I, I think disc golfers with jobs are the best putters because it's all you can practice. It's easy. Yeah, I guess that's the MindSide with Alison Mabbutt. I appreciate you joining.
thanks
And
for having me.
yeah, we will cross paths again.
Yeah,
Okay,
sounds good.
take care.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching or listening to the MindSide. Up next, we will have episode 6 featuring Gavin Babcock.